back with our fantastic Gen Zs who are doing a lot when it comes to environment conservation. Peter Malala, I want you to take us through the framework of adopting forests. How does that process go like?
So number one, people have to identify what they're going to do. So it is forest restoration. We have to know where and why. So those are critical questions that we need to meticulously come to terms with.
Right.
Why are we doing this? So for instance, as a foundation, we chose Bomet, Chepalungu Forest, Kapchumbe Block. Why? Because it is a forest that was there and it was depleted. So we looked at how are we going now to enhance that restoration. So first of all is to identify that plan. After you have identified the plan, the forest ecosystem restoration, then now you can now look at now the partners that you're going to partner with. For instance, the county governments of the said place that you're going to adopt the forest, for instance. And apart from that, the community also.
Right.
In a forest setting, we have people called the CFA, the Community Forest Association. So they are responsible for a certain given forest. So you have to align with them, the CBOs, the groups, because we want a success. Collaboration is very important.
Right.
Yes.
So it's a teamwork.
It's a teamwork.
All right.
Then after you have identified, you go to the Kenya Forest Service, where you're able to enter into an MOU agreement with them. You sign a write-up, so at least now to show commitment.
Great.
Once that is done, then it becomes easy for us now to come and bring that change that we have anticipated.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you for making that very, very clear for us. Ugi, I want you to talk to us a bit on the apiculture aspect, because you'll get a lot of people when they think of bees, the automatic thing they'll think about is honey. But you know, bees do have a bigger role in the ecosystem than the production of honey. Talk to us about how the bees play a very big role when it comes to saving our ecosystem.
So when you hear about bees, don't just think about honey. Think about the food you eat. For example, 80% of the food you eat is as a result of honeybee pollination. That means if it were not for the bees, we'd not be having food. Secondly, we're trying to marry apiculture and climate action in this way. One, if we set up beehives in forests, in some communities in Kenya, it's a taboo to cut down trees that have beehives on them. They consider them sacred. Yeah, so they can't cut down those trees. Secondly, it gives people an alternative source of income. So I now don't have to go do logging because I can get my money from the honey. Thirdly, when we set up beehives in forests, people fear bees, even though bees never really attack. They're just defensive. They're never offensive. So the reason when we set up beehives in forests, some people might fear cutting down trees because, for example, for you, I know you wouldn't go near a tree that has a beehive on it.
Well, don't underestimate me, you know. But yeah, you're right, you're right.
So that is the third aspect. So we have to look at apiculture, not just as an in economic terms, but also as a mean of fulfilling the Paris Agreement of 2015.
Great. Now, as we wind up this conversation, Blair, I want to finish with you. A lot of times when we are having conversations on youth champions, we see a lot of women on the front line. But I'm very happy today this set is full of gents. Talk about the efforts that you're putting in place to make sure that there is gender inclusion, social inclusion for every single person in this journey towards saving our environment.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, in light to what Geoffrey has said, according to the Paris Agreement, there's also that part for the Gender Action Plan. And that part for the Gender Action Plan, it actually highlights that individuals should be able to engage in matters referring to climate action. Because now, if you have one gender that is actually engaging in climate action, it might be difficult for all of us to spearhead this change.
Right.
That is why we are calling for all young people, gents and ladies, to join us in this cause so that can be able to champion for climate action.
Great. Yeah. Now we've come to the end of this fantastic conversation, but not before the three gents give me answers to the farm joke of the day. And the question we were asking was, what do we call bad fruits and vegetables? What do you call bad fruits and vegetables? Blair?
Rotten.
Rotten. Okay. Malale?
Matunda muozo. For fruit.
Okay.
Very rotten.
You're really, I told you don't overthink. The answer is, we call them groceries, but you can say gross.
Gross.
They're gross.
They're gross.
Now we have come to the end of the show and of course the end of the week. And because I do have the Gen Zs right here in studio, we are going to wind up with Kufinish Kumalo. Sindo, situfinish Kumalo. Peter Malale, situfinish Kumalo. Tuoneshe venye watu wana finish Kumalo. That's how we are wrapping up the week today, eh? Kufinish Kumalo, Okay.
Leo ni kufinish kumalo. Mana tipsi kufinish kumalo. Na masani riski kudunda kudonjo. Zonduko on na tuko juu ya mangango. Magode chok nile.
Mena, style,
Hebu tuonyeshe tuone.
Si mna finishing ngebe?
Ni kufinish kumalo.
Thank you guys so much. So cool.
It was a nice one.
And we are leaving you with Agri Nation, Makueni County, on still all matters to do with environment conservation. To me finish na kumalo.
Okay.